In a world increasingly driven by technology and innovation, the demand for skilled professionals in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, has never been greater. Now, more than ever, our future depends on training up young people to enter STEM fields of study.
And when someone comes along who finds ways to drum up interest in STEM studies, well, of course, they should be recognized. Someone like this man, Brian Campbell, is a NASA Senior Earth Science Specialist with GST Incorporated. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for the invitation.
Got a lot I want to talk to you about, but first we want to talk about the award that you received. Congratulations on the NASA Wallops Flight Facility Distinguished Public Service Award. Was that right?
Correct.
Wow.
Tell us about it. What is it?
So that is apparently the most prestigious award that NASA Wallops Flight Facility gives to a non-civil servant. So I'm a contractor.
Yeah.
In my title, GST, Global Science and Technology Incorporated. So I'm a contractor working at NASA in my 24th year there. And I guess it's the
Somebody noticed.
They like what I do, and they, and so I was excited. It was a surprise. I was actually in Washington, D.C. earlier that day when I had to drive out of there. I was there for a conference, the American Geophysical Union Conference in Washington, D.C. And I got up super early, 4 a.m., and drove home, picked up my wife, and we made our way down to NASA Wallops Flight Facility.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so part of your job is outreach.
Yes.
What does that involve?
So outreach is, we do, NASA's a science agency, so we do lots of science. I'm in the earth sciences. So outreach is getting the science out there, making it make sense in the real world. Because a lot of the science, well, almost all the science we do is highly technical, very difficult to understand. And folks like me who are really into outreach at NASA in the earth sciences, we work with the satellite data. We make the satellite data understandable for everyone.
Okay.
So in that, when I say everyone, K to gray.
Okay.
So
okay.
Everyone, and all across the planet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we, science is one of those things. It's a universal language.
Right.
So outreaches mean we're reaching outside of where we normally talk to other scientists and things like that at NASA.
So what is the best way to spark interest in STEM sciences for K through gray?
So having it make sense in the real world, but doing it, this day and age, highly visually.
Right.
And that means, visualizations, which are things that, and data visualizations, which NASA puts together, where we take the data from satellites and we make an amazing feature about it. NASA has created literally probably hundreds of thousands of these over its history, maybe 1 million, I don't know. But to have students around the world, citizen scientists, everyone that loves science, loves their planet, loves the environment, wants to know what's going on Earth, they all have an interest. But to spark that, there's different ways, of course, but something highly visual is the way I work.
Yeah.
Just get something out there to spark that interest and then take it on from there.
Wow. Okay, so I was reading all of the things that you've accomplished, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But one thing that stood out for me was the fact that you've inspired not only kids here in the area, in the country, but around the globe.
Sure.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so NASA funds a program called the Global Learning and Observation to Benefit the Environment program. And it was actually a program, kind of the brainchild of Al Gore back in the early 90s. And about 26 years ago or so, this came into fruition for students and teachers to work together to take observations in their local environment and share it with the rest of the world. Now we have participants, students, citizen scientists, researchers, educators from all over the world. 127 countries are part of this program right now. And what's cool about it is I can't be everywhere all the time, so I do a lot of things virtually with students around the world, but I've actually gotten to travel to really cool places. And I get to meet the students and the teachers who I've only talked to virtually, and I get to meet them in person and to go out there and do measurements with them, do observations with them, have them look at the satellite data and compare the satellite data to what they're doing on the ground.
Right.
One is an instance taking tree height. The GLOBE program has an app called Globe Observer, and one part of that is a trees tool. You use the phone to measure how tall a tree is. We have satellites in space, like one's called the Ice Cloud and Land Elevation Satellite 2, or ICESat 2, which uses lasers to measure the height of objects on Earth.
From space.
From space. And one of those things it can do is measure the height of trees. So we can compare the ISAT-2 tree height data with the ground-based data, and then all of this data can be shared around the planet with these students, teachers. So, and I'm just there to help inspire and bring the science to them, and focus on what that means in the real world to them. What is it when they look at a tree? What does that mean to them?
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah,
he's one of them.
Yes, he is.
You know we can pick them out. They come in here. If passion were a temperature, your TV would be melted by now. Why do you like this so much?
Well, the cliche is I've always loved science. That's the cliche answer. But, to see just the passion, like you said, but the passion of someone looking at something, taking a measurement, knowing that the data they're collecting will be seen by people around the world, actually that data can help out NASA scientists
Will be used.
I mean, there's been things like, peer-reviewed, journal articles containing data from students and citizen scientists that's out there now. And that's one of the things I like. I like seeing it, like seeing that spark of interest, like we talked about earlier, lead all the way up to the students around the world saying, I'd like to do this for a career. This would be cool because I like what you do. And do that, I started off as a teacher. I was a high school teacher in Cambridge, South Dorchester High School, just down the road from here. And, I like to see the spark of the students when I'm talking about something, in the classroom. And now it's kind of that, but on a much larger scale. Yeah, globally, yeah.
Well, okay, so you are here to tell us all about what you do, which is amazing, and I think you might have recruited a citizen scientist here. But there's another reason you're here in Historic Studio D today. Yes,
and the Rock and Roll Revival group that's here. Yeah, my son Andy is a guitarist in the group, one of the lead guitarists. So,
yeah,
he'll be on. Yeah,
we gotta
it's great.
Make sure we look out
Dad's
for Andy.
Here.
Yeah.
Dad's here.
Thank you so
Sure.
much for coming in. It's so wonderful to meet you, Brian.